Greetings, everybody. It's John Kranz. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live. This is episode number 44, November 19th, 2020. It's great to have you here today. Again, we have a good agenda for you all today. The good news is we're going to have a special guest, Gilbert Collins, on with us later tonight, this evening, to talk about his new game design, War for America. Looking forward to covering that with you. But first, and I jumped the gun here just a little bit, I just want to show you quickly just our home page really quickly. So from here you can see on the left side we have our newsletter where you can go ahead and sign up to get a newsletter from us usually once every week. We've had actually a delay in getting a newsletter out for this week, but we'll get one out next week for sure. But definitely fill out that yellow orangish box on the left. And then on the bottom right where it says talk to me, yes, please reach out to us. Any questions or comments or feedback you have, try to get back to you within 24 hours. If you are looking, however, for customer support or service, you just want to send an email to sales@compassgames.com to be taken care of. That'll be the quickest way to get support via email. Our schedule hasn't changed since we last talked. So as we've mentioned, I think for the past few broadcasts, we really have been just getting ready for the new counter supplier. So we're going to have thicker counters starting with the new releases next year, but we needed extra time to get those counters received and in the warehouse. Everything's going well, but we pretty much pushed most of our designs that we had originally intention for this this holiday season are getting pushed into January. But we do have the Conquistadors is scheduled for release in December. And I'm expecting an update from Bill Thomas, probably for the town hall we'll do next week, about the reprint for Stellar Horizons. We're definitely trying to get that out in time for the holidays as well. So we're hoping to have Stellar Horizons coming out shortly. So again, that's just a little bit, not much to report regarding the website, etc. Because again, the release schedule will get updated. I believe it is first week of December that Bill's going to provide a list of releases for Q1. So we're looking forward to doing that. What I'd like to do is I'm going to hold back on some general updates I have for you because I know a lot of you are here to welcome Gilbert Collins, who's our special guest. So we're really excited to have Gilbert on. He's going to be talking about his upcoming release, A War for America, the American Revolution, 1775 to 1782. We'll be talking quite a bit about that. And without further ado, let's welcome our special guest, Gilbert Collins. Gilbert, how are you doing?
Hey, John, how's it going?
Great. It's great to have you here. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our first time together.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and really looking forward to diving in to several things. But I did forget, I do want to mention one thing about you that some individuals may very well know already that have joined us here, and that is I'm going to go back just for a moment to screen share. And I think this is how I first came across you, Gilbert, was you have a wonderful YouTube page that I'm showing here right now. So this is, I just typed, as you can see in the search bar, I typed your name, navigated to your website, and I'd probably have to zoom in here to make it a little more readable. Let me try that. But you have, you have a lot of subscribers. You have over 3,000 subscribers, almost 4,000 subscribers actually on your YouTube channel, which is amazing. How did you pull that? How did you pull that off, and how long did it take to do that?
I've been doing them for a few years, and they were really for my own personal use, and I decided to make them public and started getting comments, and they've all been generally favorable. I've met some fascinating people on the site, and yeah, I'm happy with it.
You've got some great, there's some great videos on here for everybody. So anybody who hasn't discovered Gilbert's YouTube channel, you should, you can thank me now because there's some great content in here. We've got some older SPI games. I see 1812 listed here, goes on and on and on. And your average viewership is very high. Again, that's just, not a surprise given your subscriber rate. So congratulations very much on how your big success with your YouTube channel.
You might notice there's not a lot of land World War II games in there, but I am buying your Russian campaign. I've pre-ordered that.
Great. Well, I hope, I'm excited about it myself. I've talked about how I'm going to definitely play it with my 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And hopefully not get my butt handed to me in playing the game. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But before we get into War for America, I always ask every designer I have on sort of their history of games they've had designed and published. And I understand a lot of people might have this game already, but I know you've had one published game before. I think it was 2012. Can you tell us a little bit about your first published game design, Gilbert?
Yeah, the first published game is Mr. Madison's War. It came out in 2012, and I'd been working on it for 7 years as sort of just an interest project. And as 2012 approached, I wanted to get it out in time for the bicentennial. And the year before, I met Kevin McPartland at WBC. We talked about our designs because he was doing Amateurs to Arms. So we both made it. Both came out in 2012. It's now a tournament at WBC every year, run by my friend Dave Stifler. It's been very successful. And that's pretty well it. I've been interested in the War of 1812 ever since I worked at Chrysler's Farm Battlefield Park for 2 summers. That really got me into 1812. So I think it's still in print too.
I'll tell you what, I'm getting overrun with kudos for your YouTube channel. So if you watch the screen right now while we're on, literally boom, 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 boom. Wow. Everybody loves. And the good news, best news of all is Andrew Rowland over joining us from Australia. He's just subscribed to your channel. So I've increased your viewership by
thank
one.
you. Thank you.
My evening is done. I'm going to go away now.
You've done your job. Okay.
I've done my job. I'm done. Andrew is now subscribed. Andrew, you can thank me later because there's some great videos there. And again, Jonathan shares, I think, everybody's sentiment here. We're all very much geared up, excited to have you here for this interview, to get to know you a little bit better and to talk about your upcoming design. So Jonathan over on Facebook, definitely very much happy to have him here. Let's start with what made you decide to get into the foray of doing game design? So you've had one published. What scratched that itch for you to go from critiquing games, reviewing games, doing these videos, etc.? What gave you that itch to decide you were going to design, starting with Mr. Madison's War? How did that happen?
I think I've got the same bug that all war gamers have. All of us are, I think, tinkerers. You buy a game and you go, I don't like that aspect of it, or I'd change that, or your house rule it. And I think that's a lot of war gamers I've met are like that. They want to tinker with it.
Yeah.
And when Steve Newberg brought out his Rockets Red Glare game, which was the first War of 1812 game, I really liked it. There was things about it I didn't like, and I said to myself, someday I'd like to do a War of 1812 game. So I'd visited all the War of 1812 sites over the years. I photographed them. I did this for years, waiting for somebody to do a guidebook on the War of 1812. So I decided, well, what the heck? Why don't I try writing one? So I did. And
oh, great. You got the guidebook right there. You got a guidebook, huh?
Of course.
Okay.
So an author always wants to push his book. That was the first edition. Came out in 1998.
Wow, look at that. I wasn't aware of that. Thanks.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
And, they did a second edition in 1998.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I got to get on Amazon tonight.
Yeah,
I did not know you had written those books.
Yeah, on historic
I did not know
sites.
that.
Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's what, then I said, well, why not do a game? And that's where Mr. Madison's War came from.
So, okay, I don't see anybody just saying, okay, why don't I just do a game and it's done. The game's designed, it's done, no problem. Wash my hands, move on to the next one. So how did you approach doing your first published game design? Did you, for example, did you have certain games or mechanics or designers, things that you liked, mechanics that you liked that you decided, I think this would fit?
Well, let's go back in time a bit. I think one of the things I like on your show is when you ask the designer what his first game was and how he got into the hobby. Well, I got into the hobby in about 1969. And the first game was U-Boat by Avalon Hill. An unusual title because most people, start with Battle of the Bulge or Waterloo or something.
You don't have any of these land games. You said you don't have many land games. There you go. Started with U-Boat. That's why.
I have no land World War II game. No, pardon me, I lied. I've got one. Normandy 44, which I haven't tried yet. So
only one. Oh boy, I think you win the prize for fewest World War II land games.
So people who go to my YouTube channel say, hey man, you don't have any World War II games. I know, I don't have any. So and I'm not versant enough in the period to do a good video on Normandy 44 yet, but someday I'd like to do one. If Russian campaign comes out, I will do one for sure.
It's coming out. It's going to come out. I heard the latest. It's at the printer now, but it is overseas getting done because we're mounting the map and doing the nice rounded. Oh no, I'm sorry. The counters are ½ inch. I always forget that part because we want one single map. So it's going to be out in Q2, early Q2 next year. So I can't wait either. But yeah, great. Another land game for you. So there we go. So U-Boat was your first game, but
U-Boat. Then those clever people at Avalon Hill were smart enough to put a brochure inside the box. Of course, you play the game and go, oh wow, they've got other games. And when I saw Gettysburg, I just had to have it because one of my interests was Civil War. So I started with sort of U-Boat, Gettysburg, then Midway. My friend bought Waterloo. We played that. Somebody bought Battle of the Bulge, bought that. Somebody bought 1914, and we couldn't play it. We just, it was too complicated. And then later on, I got some of the SPI subscriptions, and the rest is history, literally. Oh, I'm not hearing you, John. I'm not hearing you.
I was muted. That's my fault. So I apologize for that. So that gives us the history then as far as U-Boat and everything. That's great. So naval is definitely it for you.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you now, fast forward. Let's fast forward all the way to War for America because I want to get into the upcoming game.
Okay.
What approach did you take as far as game mechanics that you liked? Is it card driven? Just in general, what can you say about what your design approach was for the game for War for America?
Well, my first encounter with the American Revolution strategic games was 1972 with SPI's, Jim Dunnigan's The American Revolution, which I loved. And I loved the mechanics. And I think I've owned every single strategic war game on the American Revolution. Some I've liked, some I have not liked. So, like the tinkerers that we are, I felt, well, I'll take a shot at this. So I've been working on War for America for a few years. I brought it down to WBC. I brought the prototype down.
Yep.
Got some good feedback. The first rendition was an area movement game. And finally, I just chucked it and said, I'm going point to point, like Mr. Madison's War. Tried to get that to work. Then I said, I'm chucking that design. Then I went to a hexagon grid game because I loved the old Avalon Hill 1776 very much.
Yep.
Then I said, well, all I'm really doing is redesigning 1776, so I chucked that. Then I went back to a point-to-point movement, and that's what we have today. I said point-to-point is the way to do the American Revolution.
I appreciate you mentioning how you sort of had some false starts and did some restarts, because most of the designers I've talked to, they didn't really get into the area of I sort of had to chuck stuff, like you said. So it shows your fortitude to try different things, and until you landed in the square you wanted to land. So I'm actually sharing the front cover for your game right now. So tell us about the area it covers, just as a reminder. Obviously, it's not like 1812 Russia campaign from SPI. It covers a totally different territory. So maybe you can talk about what it's covering.
Yeah, I fell in love with that painting way back in about 1970 when I got a pamphlet on the American Revolution. And I loved the cover because it was Burgoyne's army. I'm also a John Burgoyne Saratoga campaign kind of guy. I've read a lot about it. And I fell in love with that painting because it was very unusual, because you can see Burgoyne's army is coming at us and the Hudson River is on the left. But I knew that Burgoyne's army was on the other side of the river. So I wondered if the painting was wrong. As I later found out, it was not wrong. It's before Burgoyne crossed the Hudson to the Saratoga side. And it's a rare painting. It's hard to find. And I finally got a copy, and I asked Compass to use it as the cover. And thank you, Compass. They chose it, and there it is.
Yeah, so that's a good segue. We should mention that for everybody to know, Newt Grunitz is the artist for War for America. We are going to start taking a look at his work, again, work that he did with you. And I'd like to begin with looking at the back cover for a little bit. So I believe this might be posted on the website already.
Yeah.
If not, I'll make sure it's there. But here we have War for America. Again, gives a good brief overview of the game, the topic, what it's covering, showing the conflict. But what stood out to me right away, which maybe you can expand upon, is the first sentence here. It attempts to show the conflict from the British perspective. Can you explain a little bit about what that means from the British perspective?
Well, I guess a lot of you know I'm a resident of Canada. So I kind of tend to look at things from the British-Canadian point of view. And all the games of the American Revolution have been usually designed by Americans. And they are more from the American point of view. They're fair. Some of them are balanced. Some are not. So I thought it was nice to take a look at the war from the British point of view by having the Caribbean in. Some games did have the Caribbean in it, but it was more abstracted. And I was trying to show this war as how it started as a civil war between... they're not even Americans at the time. It's British against British, and then it becomes a world war because there was fighting in the Revolution all over the world, in India, Canada, 13 colonies, the Caribbean. So I don't know. I just wanted to take my shot at it, and I'm satisfied with the results generally.
Great. And then worth mentioning, and I'll provide a link on our product page besides the interview we're doing now. That will be. We'll go ahead and put that on your product page at Compass's site, but we'll also add, you did quite a few videos, I think, of, I don't know if you call them playtest videos or just preview videos of this game on your YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, they're kind of previews to show people where I'm going. A lot of people comment on the components. They say, boy, you did a pretty good job. And I go, well, for a little brother computer and a home computer, they're not bad, but they will not be the final result. I remember when my son and I brought Mr. Madison's War down to WBC with our playtest components, they liked Matt's map so much. They said, "We want that map." I said, "No, guys, Newt's going to do a way better job. Believe me." No, we want that map. But anyway, Newt did do the map, and he did a beautiful job on it.
We're going to show the map for everybody, and there are a few questions I want to share with you. So Stefan over on YouTube's asking or mentions that it's the Caribbean part is actually what sold him on the game. That was the big hook for him. So thank you, Stefan, for sharing that. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then John's asking, does this game have any connection with the work you did on Mr. Madison's War?
Well, Mr. Madison's War, as you know, was a card-driven game. This is not a card-driven game. It'll be a card-assisted game. I don't know if your viewers are familiar with the GMT game U.S. Civil War, but I borrowed that concept. I wanted cards in it, but I didn't want the cards to drive the game. So this is a card-assisted game, and the back cover there shows you a few sample ones.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's helpful to know that it's based on, I guess that's Mark Simonich's design. Correct,
Yeah.
The U.S. Civil War from GMT, right? So
Yes.
that's good. That gives a good foundation of systems you're drawing upon. So that's very helpful. So let's do this. Let's show the game map. So you mentioned the game map, and again, this is actually 2 game maps. So it's I know when we talked initially the goal, I was trying to do a 1 mapper because I could make it mounted, but then I saw your map and the rich detail of the map, which Newt did a wonderful job on. I even have to scroll here a little bit. And you can see some of the area here, but beautiful striking map. And again, 2 full map sheets. So very nice size game. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is big. We tried for a while to do a 1 mapper. I went out to Staples and printed it on 1 standard map because that's what everybody is used to, because space is a premium. But the game was just too crowded. It was just too small. So I said, I've got to go to 2 maps. And if it gets published, great. And Compass took a chance. Thank you, Compass, for taking a chance on the game. And it is a 2 mapper. It is a physically fairly big game, but it will fit on most dining room tables.
The size. It's a big. I just flipped it over here to give people an idea how big it is. But it's. I'll rotate the view back just so people can see it again. But it's again just looks fantastic overall. Overall.
Because you can see the naval part, I wanted to accent the naval. Now, the American Revolution has to have something about the naval, but I wanted to accent it a little more. So this game will have individual fleets like Howe and D'Estaing and Rochambeau. Some of the other games abstracted the naval, and I thought the naval was important enough that it should have its own little subsystem too.
Yep. Here's a good detail of the map, I think, for the viewers here to see the point-to-point movement, also the naval. Etc. We've got the various port symbols. I see there's a key symbol in some towns. What's the key symbol represent?
Those represent, you'll want to capture those areas to control the colony. So if you control all the key cities in the colony, you control the colony.
Okay. Again, just a beautiful looking map overall.
Yeah,
beautiful
Newt, if Newt's watching, he did a great job. I'm totally satisfied with that map.
Did a fantastic job. And then let's talk a little bit about the counters here. So just going to blow these up a little bit. I know on PDFs don't quite show as nicely, but hopefully this gives everybody an idea. This is the front sheet of counter sheet number 1. What are we seeing here?
Well, you're seeing in red, of course, the British regulars. Over in orange are the, I'm going to call them loyalists. I think you guys call them Tories sometimes. I'll call them loyalists. Okay. And you can see the blue counters are the Indians when they, I should say the Six Nations, when they join the American side. If they join the British side, the little triangle you see there will be red instead of blue.
Gotcha.
You can also see the French regulars. There are Spanish regulars there. Mm-hmm. And we have one little wee Netherlands unit there too.
Ah, right there. Right. Gotcha.
And the bottom left there, the Germans, which represent
right here.
Troops from Brunswick and Hesse and stuff.
And we got the leaders. What do the leader values represent? They got the number and the value, letter value.
Yeah, the A is great. Well, B is pretty good. C is average. D, not so good. And the numbers, the number of sort of units they can move, and their initiative. Most of the leaders you've seen in other games are there. I've got a few new ones. We've got Lord Dunmore there, and we've got an Ethan Allen counter, which I don't think anybody's had one before. So
Wonderful,
And Joseph
wonderful.
Brand, of course.
All righty. Well, let's take a look at the next counter sheet here. Well, this is the back actually, so I'm going to skip. We're going to go right to the counter sheet number 2 actually. So here. What are we seeing here with counter sheet 2 front?
Well, good old Continental regulars on the left in blue. On the right are the militia. Some of the militia have little wee dots on them. That means that those are militia that only appear in 1775. The rest appear after 1775. You can see some magazine units there, some forts. Let's see, siege counters. The counter clutter can be a little high at sometimes, so I invented these little wee army markers. So you'll generally make armies. That's what John's pointing there, and you'll put your counters on an off-board sheet, which is very handy.
Excellent, excellent. So let's move on to one more sheet. We have a half sheet, and this is actually a different size. So these are 9/16. Just so everybody knows, these are 9/16 inch counters, but we have a half sheet of 5/8 inch counters right here. And actually, what we did here was we had enough space where we're providing a duplicate spare set of these 5/8 inch markers. So please don't double down on the number of units. That's going to do something to play balance, probably.
Yeah.
This is just as I said here, it's a duplicate set of counters. Don't use in the game. It's if the cat, dog choose a counter, 5/8 inch, you've got a replacement now. But
You've got a spare.
tell us a little bit about why we have these unit markers being a little bit larger and what they represent.
Well, larger. Well, I wanted the armies to stand out. Many games in the Revolution just have individual strength points. Nobody bothers forming an army. And armies were important in the Revolution. Certainly Washington's army, the Continental Army, is very important. The Northern Army that invaded from Canada is important. The Northern American Army that defended the North is important. So we really have the three armies, the Northern Army, the Central Army, and the Southern. And I think it's the only Revolution game I've seen that has army units in it. And, of course, the navies. The navies is a rabbit hole. Wow, I did research on that, and this is simplified, but at least we've got naval counters. Many games just have generic strength points, so I tried my best anyway to get the navies in there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And then this to me is the most exciting part is I'm going to segue here to the game cards. So there is a deck of 51 game cards in the deck. Here's the back face. So this is on every card. I think everybody can hopefully see that all right. I zoomed in there a little bit. So very nice. It's using the cover, taking advantage of the cover art that we like so much. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to scroll through if you can start explaining how the impact of cards, how they're used in the game. You said it's a card-assisted game. So
yeah, that's a battle card, which we've seen in many other games like Hannibal, and I think even Washington's War has them. It'll give you an advantage when you're in a battle. Extended March, well, you'll get an extra 2 movement points, which can be critical on this scale. There's several of those, like 6 Extended March and 6 combat ones. The 6 nations are very important. Well, I better not say very important, but are important to the game. That can bring them in on the side of the Americans. You can note the American flag. And this card can bring them in on the British side, yeah.
Yep, and we got some leaders here.
Yeah, these are tactical commanders that are over and above the ones you have in the game.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Some more events, some more historical events, right? To bring the history into the game, right?
Yeah.
So I hope everybody, what's the R mean? What's the R bottom?
Oh, that means it's a card is used once, then removed from the game. You only use it once.
Okay, perfect. And then does the year signify anything? There's a year on the card, upper right?
That's the earliest year you can use the card. So therefore, that card you couldn't use in 1775.
How's the card play work? Do you expand? Do you have to, is it you use it or spend it or you lose it? Or as far as obtaining cards, how does the card, how does the deck work in the game?
I did like the way it worked in U.S. Civil War, so I kind of copied that idea. You're going to get 3 cards per turn, and you can use them, discard them if you like, and get newer ones. But you'll only have about 3 per season, because there are only 51 cards. Like I said, it's a card-assisted game, not a card-driven game.
Great. And then again, I'm just going through. So again, there's 51 cards total in the game. Card-assisted system. So this is going to add the history to the game. Is there any particular card you want to point? I might not find it, but is there any particular card or two that you want to share Anything about as far as design approach and how you added that event to the game that you find interesting for gameplay purposes or historical purposes?
Well, I've got a few cards that other games had. Continental Line Mutiny is a case in point. Nearly every game has a Jane McRae Massacre card. I think some of the cards I had that nobody else had was the Olive Branch Petition, a very obscure event, but it affected the war slightly. Other than that, not really. I looked for interesting paintings wherever I could find them.
Oh, great. Yeah, great
domain.
artwork. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last but not least, I want to look at some of the player aid cards we have in the game. So some of these are not final because some cards, there's, I think, 2 cards getting cut in half. They're going to be half-size cards. But we have here the single-sided British reinforcement chart for the game. Same for the colonial player. So single-sided, each player will get their own. Oh, I just mentioned each player, that it's a 2-player game. Now's a good time to pause, of course. And I'd like to talk about, what would you say about Solitaire playability? Have you played the game Solitaire? What would the experience be like? This is obviously a 2-player game by design. Could you share with us a little bit about what would it be like playing this game Solitaire?
I played it Solitaire a lot, and I liked it. Guilty secret, I'm not a real fan of solitaire games, but I do play games Solitaire, not the same thing. And this one plays pretty well. As long as you draw a card and play honestly, it plays pretty good. It's an uphill battle for the British. I think any good game of the Revolution should be. The British had a hard time to win that war. It was very hard. And I think that's what makes it a good solitaire game. For those of you who do Solitaire, I think you might have a pleasant surprise with this.
Great. Wonderful. And then some comments already coming in just of what we've shown so far. John Longshore says, great, 2-mapper, mini monster game, amazing. Looking for Bastogne on the map.
Bastogne.
Art Wolf, who has a great YouTube channel, does a lot of great stuff for the hobby as well. One of the most anticipated titles of for next year, right? For next year. We'll be talking about that here in a moment. And then a good question here I want to share from Shin Godzilla over on YouTube channel. How does the game handle things like the coordination issues that plagued both sides? But in the British example, the Saratoga campaign.
I knew that one was coming. Well, the leaders, as you saw, were rated for ABC and their command value. So basically, let's say a Burgoyne, for example, you roll a die. And I think for Burgoyne, if he rolls a 5 or 6, he won't move. So that's how I handle that. You won't have guaranteed movement for every single unit. And so you won't be able to 100% coordinate the Saratoga campaign. It was almost impossible for anybody to do that.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've got our 2 reinforcement displays. Train effects chart, no news there, right? That's pretty
basic, although there is an important difference there because I know there's a lot of fans of Washington's War out there. Good game by Mark Herman. And it was, of course, it changed our hobby, we the people, by inventing the card-driven game. The one thing I didn't like about Washington's War and many other point-to-point games, that all points cost 1 point. You go 1 movement point, 1 movement point, 1 movement point. And that's not the way armies moved in North America. So in my game, you'll see that a colonial road is maybe 1 movement point, a wilderness is 2. So we have different costs for point-to-points. New games are now starting to have that, and I'm glad that that's in.
Great. AJ's over on YouTube asking about Fog of War, which I think are those army markers you were showing earlier, perhaps, or maybe it's the cards. If it's a 2-player, the cards you're holding.
Good question. Yeah, the Fog of War, a guy pulls an extended march on you when you don't expect it. That can be very ugly. So that's part of the Fog of War. You will be able to see what other units. The intelligence in the American Revolution was pretty good. Each side knew pretty well the size of each other's army. So I read 2 or 3 books on intelligence in the American Revolution, and I was quite surprised that the intelligence was that good. They knew a lot about each other's army. I didn't know that.
Okay, great. And I was actually just trying to pull up a file because I haven't found it yet, so I'll worry about that later. That's fine. So let's go back here just for a second to share what we're looking at now. And let me zoom back out so we can see the next component. So here we have, That's not what I want to show. That's the rules. I'm going to show the rules here in a second. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Terrain effects chart we talked about. Now here's the key. I think this is one of the core charts to the game, is the various charts and tables. And really, there's not many tables to the game, which is nice. It's only really one player aid. One side of one player aid card has most of the charts and tables on it, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We can see how many dice to roll for each one. Most of them are 2d6s, although Loyalist and Militia Muster has a 1d6 there as well. So pretty straightforward. Then we have, okay, this one is the starting position. So we have a single display card of how to place the units at start, along with some mnemonics or reminders about special rules for turn 1, for example. So pretty straightforward there. And then and we have the sequence of play, by the way, for everybody so they know. There's going to be 2 copies. We're duplicating the cards that has all the charts and tables on one side with this sequence of play. So the cards that you're going to need to reference the most during the game, which is this card right here, and all the charts and tables, we've got 2 sets of that for a 2-player game. So I just wanted everybody to be aware you're going to be covered for the 2-player, no problem. Then we've got a double-sided card. On one side, we've got the foreign entry card, and on the front side, the Six Nations card. Could you explain a little bit about these 2 cards? Let's start with foreign entry. If you could tell us a little bit about foreign entry.
Yeah, foreign entry has been handled different ways by different games. 1776 had the French come in sometime in 1778. Their philosophy was, well, the French were coming in. There's just no way they were not going to take part in this war, and they decided 1778 was the way it was going to happen. I like that, but I also like the way SPI handled it, that you needed a big event, because if the Americans know in advance the French are coming in, some players might just sit back and say, well, I don't have to do anything. I'll just wait till the French come in. I didn't like that. So the Americans, to earn their victory, have to try to destroy a British army, if they can, like they did at Saratoga. And the magic number is 5 strength points. So if the Americans manage to destroy a British army early, then the French will come early. So I actually married the 2 concepts and put it into this game.
Great.
Because the French were coming in.
And there's the rest of the explanation. So this is on a single side of the card. And then on the other card, on the other flip side, tell us a little bit about this, the Six Nations card, and what's happening here.
Well, the Six Nations, as you know, were the Six Nations of the Iroquois. They did not get involved in 1775, nor did they get involved in 1776. They were very deeply divided. The Iroquois that were at the western end of their little wee empire tended to side with the British, and the ones in the eastern tended to side with the Americans. So they have a chance of coming in by card, or if their territory is invaded, they'll take action. You roll a die, and of course you're going to hope your side, the Indians, join your side, and vice versa. They're a sideshow of the war, but they could be an important sideshow.
But it's great. You've got the key mechanics around these events covered on the one card. So while I'm playing the game and this happens, I can easily follow, any special rules, etc. So that is fantastic. So wonderful.
Pete Manning from England suggested that. These used to be in the body of the rules. And Pete was very good. He was one of our playtesters. And he said, Gil, why don't you put this stuff on a card instead? And I thought about it and said, he's right. Yeah. If the Six Nations never even get involved, you don't need to read the card.
There you go. Perfect. And then we have, and these are the cards, by the way, everybody. This is an example. This is not going to have a cut line in it. So you're not being asked to cut a card in half. These are separate files. So each one's going to be a half sheet, a half card. So these are actually 2 half cards. This is just an earlier draft of the file before we split it up. But you can see here we've got the Army card.
If anybody knows the game U.S. Civil War, they'll recognize that design. They go, oh, that's where you got the idea from. Yeah, I'm guilty. That's where I got it from.
There you go. Well, let's get to the fun part. What I want to mention first as we get into the rules here is a big announcement. The game files were submitted for the printer today.
Ooh,
so this game is officially done. It's in the books. So just wanted everybody to know, as far as the game's release, we should definitely see it either end of Q1 or Q2 of next year. It's not going to take too long now. Everything's going to be printed here stateside, I understand. I take it back, the cards. I think the cards have to go overseas. But so we'll see this one the first half of 2021, and the game is done. So a big check mark for your second release. So congratulations again, Gilbert, for getting your design in. Let's talk a little bit about the rules, give people a little flavor for the game to see what these rules look like. So this is definitely a sneak peek for the first time. So let me actually switch to a 2-page. Be better to see this as a 2-page display, I think. So we'll go 2-page here and make sure it yeah, we're going to leave it like this. So we start with the simple, obviously, table of contents, the introduction. You've got some glossary and acronyms. The components, just so everybody knows, we've got the, I know it's hard to see on screen, we've got the components listed a little bit differently. We sort of break out and call out each individual player aid card, but in some cases, 2 might be combined on a single card. So it's not a 1-for-1 match, but basically everything's included by name. Pretty straightforward. And then we have here, gets right into the map areas, how the map areas work. I see a reference here to see the play booklet, so that's very important. So we do have a separate play booklet for this design, and we're going to be showing that here in a moment as well. That's where you give good illustrated examples of play, correct, Gilbert?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Okay. So again, just to go through the rules, again, we don't have many pages of rules here. We get into the raising of the units, the action cycle. Anything in particular about the action cycle, how that works?
Not too much to say about that. If you follow it, you should have no problem. You'll see green boxes showing you when something special happens, like when you roll a die and there's a tie, something different happens. If you roll a tie, you get to draw another card, and you can only do 2 action rounds. So
2 action rounds, okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got the whole leadership layer to the game. I don't know if we've got to naval yet. Is that coming up? Let's see
That's
here.
later.
Army units, more playbook examples for illustrations, of course, which helps. And here I see some naval is starting fleet movement. So we have on page 12. So not a huge rule booklet at all, really. 2-column, pretty big text here. Now we're getting into the fleets, and we've got the surrender rules, major victory and surrender. So yeah, lots of good stuff in here. About 1 full page of naval there, and here's the fleet combat. Now we get to the fun stuff. So you're a naval guy. So is it fair to say this had a pretty big emphasis in your design, level of detail for naval in the conflict?
I had to have naval, and my friends that are also naval nuts, they wouldn't forgive me if I didn't add naval stuff to it. So
there we go.
This is the only game too that will have the lake navies. We've got the Lake Navy that Benedict Arnold fought with at the Battle of Valcour Island, and we've got Carleton's Navy also. It's a sideshow, but well, we had to have it in.
Great. And then we're coming in at a total of 18 pages, 18 pages here, it looks to be. So I think there's just like designer notes coming up here in a second. Yeah. But we can see here we got the credits of everybody that was so helpful on the project, getting into the action cards at the end. And then, here we have the nice index for the rules. So easy look up. Not a huge rule booklet, but yeah, you've got quite a bit covered, a lot around leaders and naval, and they got the Caribbean covered. Everything's going to be easy to find here, as we can see here. So a page and a half to really help everybody look everything up quickly, and also multiple entries. I can see some items have multiple entries to help them out. So wonderful to see that. So I've got one more thing, which I was trying to get prepared before we started here, and I wanted to show the play booklet, because there is a playbook here. So let's go to the playbook, and this is important. Explain to us why the playbook's important for those that are getting this game.
Well, playbooks I think are great, because that old thing, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I can explain with a picture a lot more, how the game works, than a long paragraph. So I thought this game kind of needs it, because there's a few new concepts there. I know some people don't like playbooks, but I do like them. So we've included it with, I think, 10 or 12 examples.
And I'm going to go through just actually one page at a time this time, because I'd rather focus on it a little bit bigger. So yes, and we referenced those play examples in the main core rules, like PB1, Playbook 1, Playbook 2 example, Playbook 3. So here we are getting, I'll zoom in for everybody a little bit more that's viewing here. So here we can see we've got Playbook 1 control example, Playbook 2 action cycle and action pulses, Playbook 3, Raising Continental Armies. And again, lots of illustrations going through this. And this is mapping directly, this is coinciding with the call outs in the rule booklet. So you're getting these good illustrated, detailed examples of play for each mechanic that's being called out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through here. Again, lots of play examples to help with the learning curve to the game. And of course, knowing how well you do with videos, I'm sure we'll see more tutorial videos and playthrough videos using the finished product. I'm excited to see more videos from you, Gilbert, on your finished product. I think that would be, or do you get burned out? What's it like for you? Like when your design's done and it's pretty looking and everything, are you still motivated? Okay, I'm going to do videos on my own game. Are you excited about that?
I'll do a video. I try to keep my videos short, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maximum. People have asked me to do playthroughs, but you probably know, John, they're a lot of work. You're monkeying the camera, you're speaking, you're going to be making errors. I do a few playthroughs, but I'll do one on this for sure.
Okay, and then we get into the scenarios. So tell us about how many scenarios we have in the game quickly.
Well, there's only two, actually. There's the campaign game where you play the whole shebang, 1775 to 1782. But I must confess, that's going to be a big chunk of time. It's at least equivalent to U.S. Civil War by G&T. We're talking 18 to 20 hours.
Yeah, it's a mini monster. It's a two-map mini monster, right? With covering the entire scope of the war. You've added the naval. You've added a few things for emphasis. So, that sounds like a great experience. Sounds like a great extended play experience. James Pay, who's an excellent player of For the People down at WBC. Yeah, he wins every year that tournament. He wins every year. He's good. He suggested that I should always have sudden death victory conditions. So I thought about it, and I do have it if, let's say, the Americans pull a Saratoga, they defeat a British army, and they defeat a second one, they've won the war. So 2 Saratogas. So your game doesn't have to be 20 hours if you're good. So there are the sudden death victory conditions. Plus, the second scenario starts in 1778, which is like the second half of the game once the French are in. So if you want a shorter game and you don't mind playing with the French already in, that game will be shorter. But let me tell you, that'll be tough for the British to win. Yeah, I bet. I can imagine. So, and of course, the all-important designer notes on page 10. Going through your approach to the game and then continuing on. So great. We've got 2 full pages. And then speaking of bibliographies, you've got an extensive bibliography here. I'll let everybody see it in its full. So you've got an extensive bibliography, which is probably no surprise given I didn't know about the books you had written, so that was a big surprise to me. Very, very pleasant surprise to see that. But if you could, I don't know if you could show it or talk about it. Do you have a favorite book in mind you'd like to share with everybody? Well, I've been reading about the Revolution since 1969 when friends and I visited the Saratoga battlefield. That's when I fell in love with the American Revolution period too. But my favorite one, I've got tons of books on the Revolution, but the one I used as a guide is named after my game, The War for America by Piers Maxey. It's from the English point of view, and you can see all my little stickers and notes. I see your working notes in there. Yeah, I could see you went through that one. You gave it more than one read through. Oh, apparently. God, yeah. And this is available in paperback too. I think it's quite a good book. There's lots of good books on the Revolution, but that was my guide. That one. That's great. Well, let's see if we got some comments here. Gregory Smith talked about a good convention game, actually. So, yeah, absolutely. It looks to be that way. Gee, I don't know. That's pretty long. Maybe the sudden death. Maybe with the sudden death and hey, the whiskey or the bourbon or whatever. Yeah. We'll get James Pay to play it. Maybe he'll show us how to win in 2 hours. That's right. He would win it in a few hours for sure. So maybe it's in the basement. Yeah. Yes, Kevin, definitely will have vassal support planned for the game. Yeah. We've also dabbled a little bit like we did with Brotherhood and Unity. We did a tabletop simulator, which gives you more of a 3D model view using more advanced graphics, but it's more meant for live hot seat play, not really saving things and having a lot of extra features. Vassal has a lot of programmable features, obviously, that work great. But I think a game like this stature, at some point, I'd like to see both, that we have both for this game. I should point out Rob Doan did do a Vassal module for it. That's how we play tested with my playtesters. And so I want to thank Rob for that, hoping that once the new components come up, he can upgrade it and just... Yeah, then we have to update it and I'll put all the mechanics in. So definitely going to have a Vassal look to do that with everything. Let's see here. What other comments do we have from John Longshore? I see you have some playthroughs on your YouTube channel of 1776. Will be interesting to watch. What's your, give us your elevator pitch. What do you think of 1776 from Avalon Hill?
Avalon Hill 1776 was my favorite game for close to 15, 20 years. I love that game. As some of you know, it came out in 75, 1 year before the bicentennial. And the next year, I went on a road trip and visited all the Revolution battlefields in the East. Saratoga, Cowpens, all that. So Avalon Hill 1776 is a fine game. I love it. But it is showing its age. It doesn't have leadership. There's no political, but it's a fine game.
Absolutely. What replaced it as your favorite game, just out of curiosity? What displaced after 15 years? What became your new favorite game?
Well, We the People, Mark Herman's, certainly just changed the whole wargaming industry. But after a while, I did see, I hate to say the word inadequacies, but Washington's War, it's more of a game than a simulation of the Revolution. The Revolution was not putting down control markers and then taking them off and putting them on and taking them off. It was much more complex than that. And the armies can move wherever they want in Mark's game, which I didn't quite like. But it's a fine game. It's a tournament game at WBC. It's gone into 3 printings. Yeah, highly successful. Yeah. So you can't argue with success.
All right, we're going to aim for 3 or 4 printings of your game. So how's that? Okay, and then let's see. Other questions here. The bibliography, much appreciated for the many book references. That's included on the back of the playbook. Definitely agree about that. It's great to know. And it's good to know also from this video which you're about your favorite book that you spent a lot of time on. Also want to welcome John Sai from the Philippines joining us live. Good question here. Good question here. Any thoughts on Atkinson's The British Are Coming? Any thoughts about that? I liked
it. I did buy it. I liked it. And I'm a little leery, because you Americans have a different view of the Revolution than we do. But Atkinson's book was very fair. It was balanced. I can't wait to see the second volume.
Andrew asks over in Australia, how long do you think an average game will take to play? I think you mentioned over 14 in the range of 12 to 16, 18 hours for the full campaign, 2-player.
Yeah. My friend Harry and I played it, and it kind of averaged about 15 to 16 hours. If you get the sudden death victory, though, it's much shorter. It's very hard for me to gauge because these big games, let's face it, you can't do a lot of play testing with them because they're so long. But it is a long game. I do caution you on that.
Okay, and then I can't find the comment here. It was made earlier, but somebody was asking about any interest in doing anything on the American Civil War as far as area of coverage, historical interest.
I love the Civil War. It's one of my favorite periods to study. But when GMT's U.S. Civil War came out by Mark Simonich, I love that game. It's got its issues. I think it came out a little bit earlier, and they're doing a 3rd edition booklet. But I think Compass has announced they're going to redo the old Victory Games Civil War, which I will buy sight unseen.
Yep,
so I don't think I could do justice to a Civil War game. Other designers have done it just as well.
Well, we're fortunate to have Mr. Madison's War and now War for America coming. And just a reminder for everybody, the ticker scrolling means that we're almost out of time with Gilbert, but I want to give you all a chance to get in any final burning questions before we bid Gilbert adieu for this evening. So please get your final comments or questions in. Really appreciate that. Let's see here. John Sy comments about 1776, what you were talking about. It was his very first, was my first Avalon Hill War game back in the day. And then he met you at WBC.
I remember John. Yes. Hello, John. Yeah. I remember you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And oh boy, a lot of comments just came in here. So also tutorials, I believe you mentioned John doing for Enemy of the Sun?
Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun, sorry. Empire of the Sun, absolutely. And then James is asking about a possible variant for the future.
Well, that's in the back of my mind, and your president there, Bill Thomas, mentioned it too. There's a lot of games on the French and Indian War, and I've had mixed feelings about them. Wilderness War is sort of the popular one. It is very good. I like it. Mm-hmm. I've got a few issues with it. I don't know if I'd want to take that on or not. One of my favorites actually was a out-of-print game in a defunct company, Mohawk, by the Aulick Council.
I have that one. Okay.
Oh, John, you got to play your son that. That is a great game.
Okay, I gotta
It's a
find
very
it
good
somewhere in
game.
the storage shed somewhere buried probably. But
Oh,
yeah,
you've got a
I remember
collector's
that.
item. You've got a
Oh boy, I
collector's
guess
item.
so. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so sad. Collector items means games meant to be played, but only looked at once in a
Yeah.
while. And also thanks to you as a reviewer for all your
Oh,
YouTube
thank you, John.
videos. So
Thank you,
we
John.
appreciate, we're glad you didn't take too much time out. We still want you doing review videos, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe a game on the Fenian raids into Canada.
I've wanted to do a game on the Battle of Ridgeway, but I don't think a Canadian topic like the Fenian raids is enough to sell an individual game. So I threw out the idea the other day on Consim World of having a Canada at War quad game, where we might have Quebec 1759, one of the Fenian raids, maybe the rebellions of 1885, like a little Canada package, just on the back of my mind.
As Bill Thomas would say, I'll try to impersonate him. We'll do it. We'll do it. If you build it, we'll publish it.
Yeah, yeah.
How's that? Gil, they're hoping you're going to do a fleet game because you talked about fleets a lot tonight. So
I do.
focus on fleets.
Yeah, well, John knows I have one in the wings. It's going to be
Yep.
called. I think I've got. I'm changing. I keep changing the name. It's going to be called Kaiser's Fleet 1914.
Yep.
And
And
it's
everybody
gonna be-
knows we love World War One games here. We've got 3
Yeah,
or 4 strategic World War One
that's-
games, as Bill
that's
mentioned
right.
last week.
But you
So
guys
we
need
need
a
another
naval
one.
game. You need a naval game now. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think I said to you, we're not going to publish your War for America unless you give Bill a World War One game.
Right. Well,
Then
we're
we'll
giving
talk
him-
to you, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
we're in final playtesting now, and it's coming together. It'll be ready
Great.
soon.
Kevin says thanks. He loves your videos. No question, but he just wants to pass on kudos to
Thank you, Kevin.
how you've really added to the hobby, made you really make the hobby better for everybody sharing
Good.
your
Thank you.
videos. Yes, the Americans do have a rather lopsided view of the rebellion. That's the perfect statement with that avatar. I
Okay,
couldn't
he's gotta
think
be
of a
from
better
Right.
a better statement. Fred's asking, is the Compass reprint of Victory Game Civil War official? Yes, it is official, but Bill was a little nervous because he didn't want people to think Eric was already working on it actively, because he's trying to get Battle Hymn Volume 2 done, and that's a big project, and we want to get it wrapped up, obviously, yesterday. So we don't want people emailing Eric about, oh, we hear you're working on Civil War Victory reprint, redo, and Bill's like, oh no, I want him to finish Battle Hymn first. So Board Game Bloke also chimes in about being a great writer. Atkinson. Shin's asking another question about your design. Love these questions about your design. Keep them coming, folks. Then we'll let Gilbert go. How does your game reflect the change in British strategic priorities once France declared war?
Well, that's the thing. My other games, I think of. I guess you Americans don't like to think of this, but after the French got in, Great Britain was not really interested in the 13 colonies anymore. The Caribbean, or one sugar island, was worth to their economy way more than the 13 colonies. So that's why the focus shifted to the Caribbean and the South. And I've got that with varying victory conditions. In the French scenario, you can forget about trying to conquer the 13 colonies. It's not going to happen. The only way that would happen is if the revolution imploded, you might say, Continental Line mutiny, or you got some bad rolls on raising an army. But you're not going to conquer the 13 colonies after 1778.
I should have overlaid this
Maybe
with
James
a.
Page could do it.
I should have not called this a designer interview. This should have been a historical seminar on the topic of War for America. You
I'm not
really,
really
with your background in your books, you're cutting right to the chase. But I like how you're taking the history and then you're right away just throwing it into your design, how it's reflected in your design, right?
You probably guessed I'm not a gamer. That's why I don't do some periods. I have, Revolution, Ancients, 1812. I've got my specific periods and I concentrate on them. So people, it breaks my heart when say, well, how come you don't do a World War II land? I don't have any games.
That's all right. We're going to hold you to that quad game, right, everybody?
Yeah.
We like quad games, and we got the World War I game coming, Fleet. So I think we're happy with that.
Okay.
Steve says thanks. Very informative session over on Facebook.
Thank you, Steve.
Andrew, another kudos. Just awesome looking game. Again, kudos also to Newt Grunitz for working with you on the artwork. And then Erwin makes a comment, the war wasn't a rebellion, it was a liberation. And having some fun. We're having some fun here already. Oh boy.
I'm from Canada. You guys invaded us twice in 1775
There you go.
and 1812.
It's just we love Canada. What can we say? Kaiser's Fleet. People are excited to learn more about Kaiser's Fleet. We'll get there now that the game is wrapped up. That's actually a good question. So now, like next steps, now that we've got the game going off to the printers, quite literally, what's the status on Kaiser's Fleet?
Well, it's pretty good. We actually have a Vassal module for that too. My friend Rob Hammond did it. So it's wrapping up. Michael Hadwick out in Colorado has been very good at helping me in design decisions, and it's getting there. I'm saying the game is pretty well done. Pretty well.
Absolutely, yep. Yeah. And let's see here. I think we answered the question. Gilbert was asking here about Civil War, and as you mentioned, you're not looking to. You've got other designs in mind, like the quad game and naval, obviously.
Yeah.
So probably not there, Richard, unless you twist his arm. Question about the game rules. Are you allowed to move the Kaiser's Navy? Oh, this is about, Kaiser's Navy. So out of port.
Oh, definitely, yes. You can move it at every turn if you like.
Andrew loves to see this British perspective. He says, keep it coming. And then next Revolution game needs an Indian perspective. I don't know. Is that?
Well, no, that's already been handled by Liberty or Death, by Harold Buchanan.
Okay, Harold Buchanan did that. Okay, so we've got that one covered. What about this one? Martin's asking.
Oh, actually very important. I'm sorry to say that they're not really distinctive in my game. I think at best you can raise one strength point of Canadians in Canada, but the French, it's the French that preserved Canada in the Revolution.
Okay, and the board game bloke was trying to answer it for you. He was trying to say rum was more important, or the. And then Shin says, "Thank you for explaining the question he had earlier about the port." So, wonderful. So, and then does Kaiser's Navy has one scenario, Jutland? What's this?
No, this is the whole war. It covers the North Sea, the Eastern Atlantic, the Mediterranean. It's think of War at Sea, only World War One. It's a World War One version of War at Sea, but I think I've tweaked it, which War at Sea kind of needed. I think you're going to like some of the mechanics in Kaiser's Fleet better than War at Sea.
Yeah, I agree. That's really looking forward to it. So I hate to say it, Gilbert, I think we're at the end of our session, but the good news is we'll have this interview with you. I want to call it a / history lesson. I've learned a lot from you. I learned about your book writing. Your book writing. I didn't know about your book writing. So that's exciting news. And again, for everybody here, you'll see it on the website. Obviously already it's available for pre-order. We have War for America, the American Revolution, 1775 to 82. Great game. We're really excited about it. And it is a project that is officially finished, complete, and going to the printer. So with that, Gilbert, I'll give you any last words, anything I didn't ask you or anything you'd like to say. We've got a great audience here tonight.
Yeah,
as always.
A great audience. Good questions too. No, thank you, John. Thanks for having me on the show, and thank you all for watching too.
Yep. Thank you so much, Gilbert. You have a wonderful night, and we'll actually catch you on the backside as the game gets closer to publication. I know we'll be talking again soon. We'll have you back, and again, I'll get all those videos added to the website. Sure. So looking forward to that. Thank you again.
Stay safe, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. So great. So I hope you all enjoyed our time we had with Gilbert. What I want to do is we ran longer than I typically go, but I realized there was a history lesson, at least for me, starting to happen there with Gilbert. I didn't want to end on the customary 25-minute interview. I just think he was really interesting discussions, especially being the British point of view. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll have it available as well. I want to give you a preview. So I'm just want to give you a preview of sorts of some news coming down the pike, just so you know. So we're going to have in the town hall next week. We are still planning to have a town hall session with Bill Thomas. So it's just a matter of picking the right day, because Thursday's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So I'd like to know if you're still on chat here. If you could let us know, do you have a preference between, say, if we chose between a Wednesday night next week or a Friday night next week? Do you have a preference? If you were able to watch or interested to join myself with Bill Thomas for a next town hall next week, since we really don't want to impose on Thanksgiving Day. I'd be curious if Wednesday or Friday, which evening would work better for you that you'd be more interested in. So if you could just post Wednesday or Friday on your message on your chat window there, I'll take a look at what we have. And what we'll plan to do is we'll plan to announce to do our town hall next week on whichever day garners the most votes from you, because we'd love to have you all back again. I also want to just give you a brief project update of sorts, and then also share something with you more on the community outreach side of things. So first, I want to talk about a project, and that is NATO Designer Signature Edition. We've had Bruce Maxwell on, I believe, twice now. We are officially also wrapping up that project now. So we just are going through the last round, very final last round, after multiple rounds of rule edits and proofing of the laid out rule booklet and the play booklet. And we're doing the final, actually the final notes are in now. I'm just going to get my final notes in tomorrow myself. So we're going to be ready to go to the printers and call NATO as being done on Monday of next week. So I know it's Thanksgiving week here, so but I'm sure the printers will definitely be open early next week still. So I hope that's good news to everybody, that we'll have NATO, we'll have NATO ready for the printer. And we did spend more time on that project, or Bruce did rather, because when he got all the new order battle research that became published and available, that changed the whole play balance and state of the game. So he's got 2 different starting points to the game, new scenarios. It's been play tested a lot. Fred Schwartz has done a great job sharing his playtest picks on, for example, on Facebook. I know he's done it on Facebook. So this is going to be really a great, great design. Very thorough. Bruce Maxwell's very thorough with his rules. He's like challenging everybody that no rules lawyer is going to find any errata or open question in the rules. And I think he had like 15, 20 active play testers. So he's pretty confident about that claim, which I would never make that claim. But Bruce is of a higher stature, so he's got a bigger brain than I have for sure. So he's very confident with the thoroughness and completeness of the rules along with the playbook. Also, just want to share something here quickly. So let me see if I can get it on screen with you just for a moment here. So as you all obviously are painfully aware, we have been in the middle of this pandemic situation, and we've had game conventions get canceled, pushed back. For myself personally, obviously, Consum World Expo, our first miss in 20 years for 2020. Obviously, same for Compass Games Expo, same miss there. But it was very nice and very, very wonderful to see Harold Buchanan stepped forward with his San Diego Historicon convention, which also got canceled for the face-to-face, but he turned it into a virtual conference, Historicon, last week, over the weekend. And I know others here on this channel joining us tonight on this broadcast, like Morris Fitzgerald, Mo's Gaming Table, was very helpful in helping organize it. But again, I just want to say kudos to the work done on that. It's great to see the great contributors we have to the hobby. Obviously, Gilbert's one of them as well, with his YouTube channel of so many subscribers. It's kudos to him for that. So we are looking to extend, what I'm getting at is we're looking to extend our reach at Compass Games of how to better reach out to you. So there's a few things that have happened. I just released yesterday something called Linktree. So if you're on Facebook or if you're on Twitter, our Twitter feed, we have a new profile URL that basically works for your mobile phone, and it gives you the latest information about Compass. So that's something you'll see on Facebook now. And again, it's in our Facebook personal profile page. Our new website URL has changed to Linktree. You'll even see a link to Gilbert Collins' YouTube page there for tonight, as well as this live broadcast. We can update the links in real time, which so comes in handy, and it's meant for mobile devices mainly, although it works on laptops, etc. So that's just a small gesture we did just to connect better with everybody. You already know for the past few months we've got the Talk to Us thing where you can talk to us quite literally on video or send us a note. But we have something new coming. And again, because of San Diego Historicon and everybody over the past few months having to learn how to do gaming remote-based, Discord has really become a big strong force in the hobbies. In other words, for San Diego Historicon, they really leveraged this new platform, Discord platform, quite a bit. And you'll see there's actually channels here for Consum World, which I'm on, which I can switch to right here. So here's the Consum World channel. We've got a GMT Games channel that's available on Discord, SPI. You get the idea. Jacobite, Victory Games, Vassal, of course, Vassal, because it's online gaming. So lots and lots of opportunities. So what we've done is we have in beta right now, we have our new Discord channel for Compass. And again, it has various topics like a welcome, rules and guidelines, new members as they get announced. We're just doing beta testing right now. Announcements as they happen. That's that link tree. So if anybody has a phone, actually, if anybody has a phone right now, go ahead and if you take your phone and you do the QR code, something will happen. You'll see a link will auto-generate, and it will take you to our link tree where you'll see the link for the live broadcast we're doing right now and to Gilbert Collins's YouTube page. So maybe give me a thumbs up if you've got your phone handy, and you can just switch it to photo, and that QR code should be picked up on your screen, and it should take you right to our new social link profile. So just something, information there. We also have all our social accounts, our social feeds, and then we get to the various topics. So we have about 9 or 10 topics already, talking about gameplay, game discussion, your favorite game, introducing yourself, Paper Wars discussion. We're going to also do another version of Pay It Forward. So if you want to offer a game to somebody else, and that's great. Gift giving, basically. We started a sneak peek. So I just started the sneak peek just now. So here's a sneak peek on a setup display for the Fall of Tobruk, for example. So we're going to have a lot of sneak peeks on Discord. So literally as I'm working on projects and as I get new proofs in, I can post them on Discord, and that's going to be on our sneak peek channel. And then we've got sharing going on. So you can share new game arrivals from Compass, your gaming picks on the table, to share your fun game memories, etc., etc. And then we've got our voice channel. And again, the voice channel is where Discord really comes in handy. That's what was used for San Diego Historicon, and it's used for Vassal, etc. That's where you pick a voice room, you enter a voice room, and you can talk to whoever the participants are. And just as an FYI, I've already upgraded the Compass Games site to an upgraded sound quality for the voice channel. So you can see we've got a lobby here. We've got special events. So if we have a Compass event, we can use that room. And we've got 3 other rooms here. I don't have any specific game title discussions yet for Compass, basically because I don't want to overrun the Discord channel with 200 different named topics to choose from. It would be crazy to do that. So what we'll do is we have a generic game discussion topic that we're going to start with. And again, we're in beta, so we haven't started yet here. So we'll have a basic game discussion to start, but what I'll probably do is I'll do a featured discussion. Maybe it's on a new release or something new on pre-order that you want to ask questions about. So we'll probably start with an automatic flow of questions, of topics that are game specific, and maybe we get into game series topics as well. But we're going to really start slow and sort of let you drive it, all our members drive it on Discord. So again, just want to let you know we've upgraded the channel already. We're going to do a public launch on Discord. Actually, we're going to do our public launch. Most likely, we'll do that in before Thanksgiving holiday starts, so everybody has a chance to be online. So if you're online over Thanksgiving break, you're taking a break, we'd like you to have Discord to try out if you're not familiar with it. It's a great channel. It's a great platform, especially for online gaming. So, and we'll have all our folks there. Already spoke with Ty Bamba for Paper Wars. He'll be there as well. So we'll be doing an official launch of the Compass Games Discord channel early next week before Thanksgiving Day. And most likely we'll make it part of our town hall, especially if the town hall is done Wednesday night versus Friday. The plan is to unveil our Discord channel for public access on Wednesday. So I hope you're going to be looking forward to, as we try to reach out and find additional ways to reach out to you on social media, online. Also, it's really about promoting making you able to play games online. So also we're considering, I might be upgrading the channel to give 1080 high def video quality. So if you want to jump into a Compass channel, and it doesn't have to be a Compass game, it's literally just to serve our gaming community. I think we would be one of the few, if any, maybe we'd be the first one, I'm not sure, offering high def video. Just a small investment to make it happen, but it's something we're considering doing just so we can offer you high def video during, the pandemic times we're having right now. So that's something we're going to be, I'm personally considering to do myself for the channel, for Discord, for Compass Games. I think it'd be great to have a really terrific, yet again, improved sound quality and HD video quality across the board with anybody. And again, it could be for any game. It doesn't have to be Compass. Just to bring the community together, we'd be happy hosts for that. So with that being said, I think the plan is I'm going to look at what you guys have voted for next week, for our next town hall meeting. So looking forward to town hall number 12. I hope you enjoyed our time together with Gilbert Collins on his War for America. It's going to the printers now. We've got Kaiser Fleet, which we'll be doing next, of course, for Compass Games, and we'll definitely have him on for a future broadcast. NATO is now wrapping up. We'll get NATO to the printers early next week as well. So overall, a lot of productive things happening, and I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope those that attended San Diego Historicon Virtual Conference, hope you had a great time last week experiencing that, and I'm sure you learned a lot about Discord channel during that event as well. So again, it was a pleasure to talk with you all again. I look very much forward to seeing you sometime next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy your games, and I will definitely see you probably now in more places than ever. I'll see you online through Compass Games. Take care, and thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.